Before we tell you about the scholarship or what the class is like, first I would like to have somebody from Tampa Electric tell you a little bit about what the career field electrical line worker is like, and what it's like to work at TECO. So I'm going to turn it over to Tony Faison, one of our key partners in developing the curriculum and our ongoing improvement of the class. He's the manager of Western Service Operations for Tampa Electric. So Tony, if you would unmute your mic and tell the students a bit about what it's like to be an electrical line worker and the career path at TECO.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm glad to be here tonight, to speak to you about this great career. It's not a job, it's a career. If you enjoy working with your hands, you enjoy working outside in the elements, and I'll say the elements because you will have to deal with the heat, humidity, the cold, and long hours. But I tell you this much: it's very gratifying. The pay is great, and you definitely can start yourself a great career and last a very long time. Me myself, I've been there for 34 years, and it seemed like I've only been there for maybe a year or two. So it's a great place to be. Now, basically, for us, our responsibilities of line worker, we keep the power flowing to your house. Those Xbox and those PlayStations, we keep those going. You'll be doing construction work for us, setting poles, stringing wire, doing all different types of tasks for us, changing out transformers and doing underground utilities. Those green boxes you see in some of the neighborhoods, those are pad mount transformers. They're basically the same transformers you see up on the pole, but they're underground utilities. Our work schedule is basically 7 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. That's the basic work schedule. But if you have a car hit a pole or someone's out of power, you'll be called out all times of night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Weekends and holidays, you're required to to come out and work. Again, the work it's a little the work is a little tough. It's a little hard, but again, it's gratifying, and you get to see some smiles on some of our customers' face when their power comes back on. Now, starting out in this position, you start out at 26.98. That's as an apprentice line worker. You'll have 4.5 years of training, and you'll do 6-month step raises where every 6 months you'll get a raise and you'll go to a different step. You'll go from 1-1 all the way to 4-2. And your 4-3 position, you'll be testing out for that journeyman line position, and you'll top out around $50-something. Well, let's just say 4.5 years from now, we'll probably put around about 65, maybe 70 by the end. So it'll be a lot more. And the career path is you basically you'll go through your apprenticeship, you become line worker. And from line worker, you can venture off into supervision. You can become a line supervisor. You can become a distribution system operator, or you can do like myself, do all of them and become a manager. So it's definitely room for growth. You also have the opportunity while you're working through HCC Tampa Electric. We'll pay for your education, books, and classes, so you can go back to school while you're making money, which that's what I did. So this is a great opportunity for everyone to take advantage of if this job fits for you. If you like doing the things that I just spoke about, it's a good chances for you. Do we have any questions?
So Tony, I have one. So if you are afraid of heights, can you be an electrical line worker?
No, you can't. If you're afraid of heights, thanks for bringing it up. If you're afraid of heights, it's a good chance you can't. Also, if you're afraid of electricity itself, you may not, there's something you may not want to do. Well, I know we have a lot of, students out there that really don't even know if they're afraid of heights until they get into that position. But that's something that you really need to know, and you really need to consider if you are afraid. This is not what you want to do, because we're up on the poles, 40-foot poles, 70-foot poles. You're in some of our buckets that go up to 120 feet. So you're going to be up pretty high. So yeah, you would definitely need to consider that.
Tony,
I was just gonna ask Tony, you said 120 feet. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's a realistic number, that how high they'd be going up, to give them a perspective on what the
Correct.
height is.
In our transmission, we go and we change out bells and do work on transmission poles, and we do go into that realm of transmission. It's in some of our buckets, they extend up to 120 feet. Yes.
Okay, I have one more question. I see in the chat, it says, what days do we work when we start? I know you mentioned Monday through Friday. Is that a realistic work week for
Yes.
beginners in this? Okay.
That is your set work week and time. Now, all the other things I talk about, the call outs, it's whenever you have an event happens. That's when you're called.
Mr. Tony, you said that Tico would pay for the school.
Yes, it's a part of our benefits package where you can also use your 4.5 years of training as accredited towards your associate degree with HCC, and Tampa Electric pay for your classes and your books all the way up to graduate school.
Tony, I have a question for you. How
Mhm.
how physically demanding is the job?
It's very much so for its upper body strength, endurance, for its being physically fit, because a lot of the material and equipment that we handle, it's pretty heavy, and it's demanding on physical ability. Even like climbing the poles and stuff, you up and down those poles, so you have to have some pretty good endurance. So I would recommend, you take that in consideration if there's something you want to do. Make sure you're physically fit, play basketball, jog, lift weights, do whatever you need to strengthen your body. It really helps when you're out there working on that pole. You're extending yourself, you're reaching, you're stretching, you're doing all these things where you definitely need that physical part. Any more questions?
I see there's some questions in the chat, and some of them may be answered while we go through some of the presentation, and we talk about some of the other pieces of the career field as well as the class. And so definitely we'll try to get to those in the presentation. So continue to update the chat. Before we move on to the next thing, I see Tyson has their hand up, and then we'll move on to a
Yes.
little bit of information about the class.
Hi, I'm Tyson's mom. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, good. Quick question. When you're talking about Tico paying for the 4 years training, whatever, so that's after we pay the $6,500 for the 4 months of at HCC? So that's after, or is that, how is that all?
No,
That's correct. So yes,
Yeah.
so there's a 4-month training program that is what we're talking about today. That's the entry-level skill set that somebody needs to become an electrical line worker. The 4.5 years of training Tony is talking about is assuming you pass the class, assuming you successfully make it through the interview process, and assuming you get hired, then TICO puts you on a 4.5 year training path to get to that journeyman license.
Right.
So that 4.5 years is as you're an employee. The 4-month training is with HCC, but there are scholarships available to that for that as well.
Okay, and when you're doing the 4 years of your training, obviously you're gonna be working and stuff too. Do you get benefits, like health benefits and stuff, like the medical benefits and stuff, or?
Right. Once you're employed, you have all of the benefits for health. You have 401k, also the education package, which I'll talk. You have full benefits once you're employed. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So the general idea is to kind of learn about what it's like to be an electrical line worker. Obviously, it's a physical job. You're working outside. You can't be afraid of heights. You Monday through Friday job, but also weekends, evenings. So just want to make sure the students understand, what the job is like, so make sure it's the right fit for you. So if you still think it's the right fit for you, I'd like to tell you, turn it over to Curly McKenzie, sorry, our lead instructor with 40+ years of experience in the industry, to tell you a little bit about what it's like to be in our class and kind of what we'll put you through in that 4-month training program to prepare you to be an electrical line worker. Curly.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank
Can
you,
you hear
Curly.
me?
Yes.
Okay. The program of 14 is 4 months long and stuff, and we take you through everything. All about line work. We we teach you things that you probably never even heard before. It's a great program, and we do a good job of training people. Our first class, we sent 7 people over to the training center to be evaluated. 5 of them passed, 5 of them have jobs. 1 is pending, 1 didn't make it. And now we have 11 guys ready to go, and they're training right now to take the evaluation come August. I think that's the next time it will be presented to them.
Tony, could you tell me a little bit about the classroom format, when classes meet, what's expected of them from a hands-on lecture and online perspective?
You
Oh,
asking
yes.
me? Okay.
You asked me, Ryan? The class
Sorry, yeah,
starts
Curly. Mhm.
Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. That's all the classes. The boot camp is from 7 to 10 on a Saturday.
And so, Curly, are students allowed to show up late for class?
No, sir. No, sir. 9 o'clock is 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock is 9 o'clock. Be on time.
And the online modules, some of those are done in class, but some of those are done on the student's own time outside of class, correct?
Yes, I assign homework every week. I test them every Thursday. You got a test. It's every Thursday. And we make sure we run a tight ship there, but the guys really enjoy it. They're learning so much there. And that's myself and my other instructor, Murray Stone, we work together, and we be sure that we teach these kids or these young men about line work.
So you mentioned Merv. So the class has a cap of 16 students each cohort, and we have 2 instructors teach the course at a time. So a ratio of 8 to 1. So that way the instructors can be with a group of students who are climbing the poles, while another group of students are learning the lecture part, and everybody can move forward together productively. So the course meets for 4 months, and somebody mentioned in the chat about, is there financial aid available? The program can be fully scholarshiped by Tampa Electric if you meet the minimum qualifications and are accepted into the program. So far, every single student in our first and our second cohort has been scholarshiped by Tampa Electric, thankfully. So it's a full scholarship. That $6,500 fee that's posted to our website is completely scholarship by Tampa Electric. Students must meet some minimum qualifications in order to be considered. They have to be at least 18 years old by the start of the program. They have to have a valid driver's license. It can't be a permanent or a temporary license. It has to be a full valid driver's license. And they have to have their high school diploma or their GED, again, by the start of the course. If the student meets those minimum qualification and fills out the application online, which Shantae Ocasio is going to talk about on the next slide, then they'll be invited to our Discovery Boot Camp assessment. The boot camp costs $93. That is out of pocket for you. So that is the one fee that you should have. In addition, if you make the class, you'll also need to buy steel-toed boots. So the Discovery Boot Camp costs $93, which is basically to cover the things in the advanced qualification steps, which is your drug screen and your background check. So you come to the Discovery Boot Camp assessment. You'll learn more about the career field as becoming a line worker. You'll learn more about the class, and we'll put you through some work. We're going to have you do some of that physical labor out in this hot sun, digging and doing some work to show us your skill. And so you can get an idea if this is the right field. If you realize a couple of hours into the boot camp, hey, this isn't what I want to do, that's a fine answer. You decide to drop out and not be considered for the full program, we'll refund you your $93. and we will not go through the background check and the drug screen. If you pass the assessment and you're still interested, you will be fully assessed by Tampa Electric's folks, as well as our HCC, ICCE instructors, so we can pick our top 16 candidates each time. So you'll be kind of competing against the other students in that boot camp. And so those top 16 candidates will be invited to go through a background check, pass that drug screen, and then pass a basic aptitude test, which is part of the hiring process of TECO and many other electric providers in the area, or a similar exam. So if you pass all those three things, you'll then be invited to take the full class and to get the scholarship from Tampa Electric for the $6,500. But again, we want to find the right 16 students who are willing to put in the work, the schedule is available, and they meet those minimum qualifications, and they really want to become an electrical line worker. So you've heard about the career a little bit. You've heard a bit about the course. You know a bit about the scholarship and how that works. So I want to turn it over to Shante Ocasio, who is basically our student advisor, our coordinator, who helps the students kind of from interest to boot camp to course completion throughout that whole process. So Shante.
Good evening, everyone. As Ryan said, I'm Shante Ocasio, and I work with continuing education at HCC. Ryan is my director, and I work hand in hand with Tony Faison, Curly McKenzie, and Merv Stone to bring you all this program. So I'm going to put a link in the chat. And the link that I just posted to the chat is the link that you will click on if you are interested in this wonderful opportunity. The link will take you to an application. The application is basically your first name, last name, email address, all of your demographical information about you, why you would like to become a lineman, how you heard about us. And in that application, you will upload your driver's license and your high school diploma. We have to have your high school diploma and your driver's license. You cannot send us your learner's permit. If you have a learner's permit, you will need to go and get your license. If I review the information and if I receive the learner's permit, then I'll send you an email back letting you know to please email me your driver's license when you receive it. And at that time, I'll send you the next step. So the first step is to complete the application. And once you're done, you will upload your driver's license and high school diploma. I know that at this point, many students don't have their high school diploma. And I'm following the Hillsborough County graduation schedule. So by the boot camp, which is on June 1st, the next boot camp is June 1st, I'll need your high school diploma for you to proceed with the boot camp. So you'll either need to email it to me prior to June 1st, or you'll need to bring it to me at the boot camp. If there are other circumstances, we'll need to discuss those one-on-one. After you've completed the application and I have everything that is required, then I will send you the second step. The second step is a very long and detailed email that will have everything you need. It will tell you, the first thing it'll do is make sure it'll have information, making sure that this is something that you want to do. The next thing in the email is the registration link. The registration link, as Ryan said, is where you'll pay the $93. The $93 is, as Ryan said, for the background check and drug screening. It also has information about the clothing you should wear, the type of shoes you should wear, the fact that you need to be hydrated because we're going to be in June, we're going to be in the hot sun. So your body needs to be physically prepared to be outdoors for a few hours, doing physical tasks. So make sure you're hydrated, you have on the proper clothing. You can bring water with you. Make sure you eat. That's extremely important. Working outside, being in the hot sun. so that you can, maintain the energy that you need. Even though we're doing it very early in the morning at 7 a.m., you need to come prepared. And preparation starts before the first. So make sure you're hydrated, maybe the week before, and you're well nourished that morning. I think that's it as it relates to the first step and the second step. And then in the interim, if you have any questions, you'll have my email address. I'll be emailing you consistently on different information. But if you have questions in the interim that you don't think is covered in the email, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And my information will be in the email that I send you for the registration.
And so the goal is to, make sure that you want to become an electrical line worker, complete that application process, go through the boot camp assessment. If you are selected, you'll then hear from Shantae again after the boot camp with the next steps to process your background check and your drug screen and go through the BSTB exam. If each of those three things come back in the right manner, you will then be invited to take the class. And we will apply the scholarship for you as well. Now, before we move on to the questions that are in the chat or any others that are in the room, I just want to mention a few key details about the program. Again, the course prepares you to be an electrical line worker, not necessarily a TECO electrical line worker. Now, yes, TECO is sponsoring the scholarships. Yes, TECO is there with us to help develop the curriculum. Yes, Tony's there always helping Curly, provide equipment and make sure we have what we need for the class to run successful. We bounce ideas on how to improve the curriculum off of TECO. We definitely hope that most of our students get hired at TECO. But it prepares you to be an electrical line worker. And there are many other partners that TECO works with where somebody could get a job with the same skill set, or maybe even some of their competitors. Our hope at HCC is that the students get a job in the field no matter what. But obviously TECO is kind of that primary option. So to that next bullet point, HCC cannot guarantee you a job. Obviously, we're preparing you to have the right skill. TECO definitely needs people for this job. You show up, you listen to everything Curly has to teach you, you do your best, you show up on time, you work hard, you apply for the TECO job, you have a really good chance at that job, but we can't guarantee you a job at TECO or anywhere else. But we'll do our best to help you if you're helping yourself. Also, and I think this was mentioned in the chat, do you work in the career field right away? That's really up to TECO. TECO, hires when they need to hire. They usually have 1 to 2 hiring rounds a year, but we can't dictate when they hire. If you go to HCC to get a job as an accountant, you're not guaranteed a job and you don't start the next day after you graduate with your accounting degree. This is sort of similar. You gain the skill set, you look for a job, and then you get a job based on your efforts and your work in that interview. Again, a bit more of a connection from us to you, to TECO, but in general, we can't dictate what TECO's hiring process and policy is, as well as their schedule. Sometimes it'll work within a month or so at the end of the class, but sometimes it will not. So again, we can't guarantee what TECO's hiring process is today or what it will be tomorrow. So I'm going to kind of run through the chat, and any one of our team, can try to answer any of these questions. So where is it located? We talked about that. Yeah, unfortunately, it's only offered at the Brandon campus. We need to have a mock pole yard. We need all the equipment in one location, so it's not offered at multiple campuses. We can't bring this program to you. You have to come to the Brandon campus. What days do we work? Tony talked about that. It's kind of Monday through Friday, but really it's whenever. The class is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 to 3. Do we start right after graduation? I mentioned that. It's kind of dependent on TECO, when, their openings are. Again, typically they have 1 to 2 hiring rounds a year. How do we apply for the job? After you gain our certificate, Shantae Ocasio will provide you with information on how to apply to Tampa Electric. Taking our course is one step. Taking that BSTB is another step. So those are 2 steps towards doing that. But then you still have to go through a very involved interview process. It's like your boot camp that you go through with us, but even more extended out in order to get that job after the fact. Next questions. Is climbing the poles the only position available, or are there other work positions? So what we're preparing you for is to be the electrical line worker who is climbing the poles. But yes, TICO has many other jobs available. This program just does not prepare you for that. Tony, I don't know if you want to go into any more detail about other positions at TICO.
Yeah, we have a range of positions from IT through you have HR positions and all the way to the craft position. But we're dealing with a craft position here for us, these line workers. We also have our ground equipment operator, our solar. We have other positions. It's a vast number of jobs, really too many for me to go over.
Right,
As
of course.
Ryan says, this particular one we're on the meeting for today is for the the line worker position.
And the next question was, will TICO help with the tuition? Yep, if you meet all the minimum qualifications and are one of our top boot camp associates, then you will get a full scholarship to attend the class. The only cost will be that $93, which is to cover your background check and drug screen. And then as Shantae mentioned about the clothing you should wear, that might be something you might need to purchase in order to be successful in the class. You definitely need a pair of steel-toe boots to do the climbing, and that would be on you as well, on the student. After taking the course, to become a certified electrician or only a certified line worker? It's just for the line worker. It does not help you become a certified electrician. But with your tuition benefit, if you do get a job at TICO, you could move forward with some of that additional training. Is this the campus off of Falkenberg Road? Yes.
Ryan, the question before, will the work only be outdoors?
Oh, I missed that one.
Mhm.
Will the work only be outdoors?
So Tony,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the line working stuff, yeah, it's outdoors basically. Yeah. Also, too, on one of the questions about will this make us either a certified electrician or a line worker? No, it just basically is giving you information and giving you a brief look into that world. You'll get a certificate, but you won't get a certification of a line worker until the 4.5 year training at Tampa Electric.
so that is a good question. So as Tony said, with the course, the electrical line worker program with Hillsborough Community College, you will receive a certificate of completion once you finish the course and you've passed the course. With the job, that is totally separate, and that will be an apprenticeship with TICO if you are hired by TICO.
And the next question was about financial aid. Again, the scholarship is available through TICO. What are the scholarships for and what does it pertain to? It covers your tuition to attend the 4-month-long course, which includes the online curriculum, use of the climbing gear, Curly and Merv's expertise, the online content. So it includes the tuition. Like I say, the $93 will be required for the background check and drug screen, and then whatever, steel-toe boots and things like that the student would need for the program are on the student. How long are the hours of the day? Again, 9 to 3 for the training program. And then Tony mentioned the hours Monday through Friday. But again, they're kind of whenever the community needs the lights on. And as far as a financial advisor, so I'd say in this case, for this particular program, Shantae Ocasio would be the person you want to connect with about the application for the TICO Electrical Line Worker program. If it's other programs at HCC you want to talk to us about, again, Shantae can probably start that conversation. And then depending on if it's for a credit program, another one of our workforce programs like massage therapy, she can give you information on that or connect you to another advisor within our unit. Somebody asked what kind of math is taught. We'll turn that over to Curly and Tony, I guess.
In the classroom,
ahead, Curly.
You want to go, Tony?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
In the classroom itself, we goes over Ohm's law. That's probably where we get deep into math. With time voltage, time of time is a resistance divided by the voltage and stuff. That's the time we get deep into math at that time.
Tony,
So
anything
it's
you want to add?
specific. So, Mr. Curley, the math is specific to the tasks that the individual is performing.
Yes, Ohm's law. That's a general knowledge about electricity and how to divide and get the voltage, time, and resistance and stuff. So that's when we get deep into math there, in the formulas and stuff.
Okay.
Another question is there bigger opportunities for CDL drivers? So HCC does provide CDL, not as a part of this program. It's offered at our Plant City program campus. And we actually do have an open door scholarship that helps cover that program as long as you've lived in Florida for at least a year. So if you have other questions about that, you can send questions to myself or Shantae, and we can get more information about that. As far as CDL drivers at TICO, I guess I'd turn that question over to Tony. Tony, any information on CDL drivers?
But the only thing with CDL drivers, it just it helps us once you employ. We don't have to get you that CDL license. But for us, giving you an added advantage of what we're doing now, no, it doesn't, because you have to get past this class and that evaluation for that to even to kick in. So.
And then what if you're 17 until July? So you have to be 18 when the so if we're kind of running these programs ongoing, so once one ends, we start another one. So if you're too young for our June class, then you just would have to wait for our October class, or September class. So here's the schedule if you're seeing my screen still. This class, the next class runs June 18th to September 2024. So you need to be 18 before June 18th. So if you don't turn 18 until July, you need to wait until our next cohort is offered. And like I say, we kind of run them every 4 to 5 months. We run a program for 4 months, about a month in between to do the boot camp and things like that. And then the next program starts. Ayla put in that it's June 2024, and then the next one is October 2024. So that October 2024 might be your next best option. The boot camp, Ayla also put in there that it is on June 1st, and those details are also on our website. I'm filling out the application. It's asking, will I have a diploma by June 1st, which I will, but it's making me upload it now. Yeah, the standard application expects that you have those documents while you're filling out that application. However, it should allow you to complete the application, and then Shantae will be in contact with you. Is that correct, Shantae?
Yes. However, if it doesn't allow you to, if it won't let you pass that question, then just take a piece of paper, write, I'll have my diploma by June 1st. And just upload that paper.
Yeah,
and then,
Brian.
Yes.
We put in the chat the FCA, the Future Career Academy application that y'all had set up to help with those things and to make sure that the students then are identified because you are saving seats for them and in the application process. So we put that in the chat. If people use that, that might make it a little bit easier.
Oh, it's in the chat. Okay. So yeah, we have a separate registration form. It's the same questions, but for the FCA folks, because we kind of understand, as Yvonne mentioned, that folks are still waiting on their high school diploma, and some may not be 18 yet. So yeah, so Shantae's kind of prepared for that eventuality. Do you get accommodations for the test? If you provide that accommodation information, yes, we'll send that through our accommodations office and provide whatever's necessary.
Ryan, is that
Yes.
for the BSTB test?
That would be for anything taken at HCC for our course. The BSTB test that is partly through TICO, so that we'd probably have to double check with TICO on for the BSTB test for any accommodations that are needed.
Yes, sir.
Do I just press no instead? Not sure of that question.
If that question is pertaining to the application and needing the diploma, if either the link that's provided here that will let you bypass it, if it doesn't, just write on a piece of paper that you'll have your diploma by June 1st and upload that. And then when I get it, I'll review to make sure you have your driver's license and that you'll be 18 by the start of class. And then I'll send you the next step.
And then Ruby asked, is there a minimum time commitment that you must work for TICO? No, and again, there's no guarantee you'll get a job with TICO by completing our program. They provide the scholarship, understanding that students, may work somewhere else, which is great. But if you get a job at TICO, I'm sure you'll probably want to stick around, but that would be up to you. There's no requirement to work at TICO by accepting the scholarship. Father's 100% disabled, tuition at any school, basically free. This is a non-credit workforce training program, so I guess I'd have to see what the voucher says as far as the tuition goes. So potentially we would accept that, but it may not. I'd have to see what the voucher is. So Ruby'd have to kind of send that information to me separately. Do we need fire-resistant clothing? Curly, I'll turn that over to you.
I'll
Okay,
answer.
Ryan, so you want to answer that question?
Yeah, real quick. For this course, you would need long sleeve shirt, preferably something cotton or jean. You would need fire resistant clothing until you actually start work with Tampa Electric, and we'll purchase that for you. So for the programs, as Ryan mentioned earlier, steel toe shoes, jeans, long sleeve cotton shirt, and that's to protect your arms and stuff for when you're climbing. So yeah, no FR clothing is needed for this particular class.
Next question was, if I take the course, are you more favored to get accepted in the TICO apprenticeship? Again, it's really up to your ability in that apprenticeship. But I can say that of their last 8 people they hired, 5 of them were our students, which I believe is the most they've ever had from one training program ever. So pretty good chance, but again, doesn't guarantee you that. It's you kind of got to show what you've learned in that apprenticeship program. If you want to switch when you want to take the class from the October to the June class, reach out to Shante Ocasio about altering your application. Our program does not provide you any credits toward your associate's degree, but the apprenticeship program that you take at TICO, I'll turn that question over to Tony. The question is, how many credits do you get towards your associate's degree after completing the 4.5-year apprenticeship program with TICO?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was around 33.
That sounds about right. It'd be about half of an associate's degree.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I see the next question. Sarah posted the FCA electrical line worker link that's available to you guys. If I can't get financially for $6,500, then it's out of pocket and I need the money before June 1st. You need the money after the June 1st boot camp if you were selected for the program. But again, all of our students have been scholarshiped, and we anticipate they would be scholarshiped if they meet all the minimum criteria.
And we would ask everybody to fill out the end survey so we can follow up with your interest and get some great feedback that's posted in the chat.
Yeah, Ayla posted the link to the docs for you to fill out that. Once you pay the $93, do we take the drug screen immediately? No, because you're going to pay the $93 when you register for the boot camp. And so you'll come to the boot camp, you'll learn more about the program, you'll learn more about the career field, you'll go through the assessment process. And again, at that process, you may decide, hey, you know, I thought this was for me, but it's not. You can back out, we'll refund you your $93. And we won't do a background check or a drug screen on you. If you make it through the assessment, you're still interested, and we select you as one of our participants, then you will say, yes, I'm accepting having my background check done. We'll do the background check. If that comes back negative, then we would keep your $93 and you wouldn't be able to get into the program if you expended that money. So yeah, the drug screen and the background check occur after the Discovery Boot Camp if you are interested still and we select you for the program. Is there anything we should do before the boot camp to better prepare for it? Curly, you want to answer that question?
Yes, Ryan. All I can tell you to do is be in shape. So most of the best I can tell you to do is be in shape, because the assessment is going to be intense and you need to be in shape.
And also, as Shante mentioned earlier, make sure you hydrate. You definitely need to hydrate, and you need to eat the proper foods before you arrive there that morning, because you know the physical work we're going to be doing is going to take a lot out of you. So you need a lot in order for you to, you know, survive the that boot camp. So definitely be in shape and make sure you hydrate. Not the night before, a couple of days prior, so you'll be properly hydrated.
Tony, could you just explain that a little bit to me for with the boot camp with working out and the expectation of them being in shape? Would you recommend or suggest that they're doing cardio, or are they going to be expected to be running, or how can you?
I would, I mean, being out there with digging the holes and, you know, and doing all the physical work in that heat, you definitely need to do some cardio. You need to be in physically good shape. You don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, but you definitely need to have some cardio, because it wears you out. And we've seen a lot of the candidates, you know, get tired pretty quick out there. You know, like this class, the weather was pretty lenient on them because it really wasn't that hot. But come June, it's gonna be pretty rough out there doing the things we're asking them to do.
And though it may not be much sun at 7 a.m., humidity
Yeah.
plays a role in everything that we'll experience that early morning. You know, sometimes you can't even breathe in the humidity. So you really do need to prepare yourself for being outside, the weather, heat, sun, those types of things. Endurance is extremely important.
So hope you guys learned a lot about the electrical line worker field and the program. If you have any other questions, please reach out to Shante or I. Definitely visit our website and complete that application if you are still interested. If you have interest in another program that we offer, again, please reach out to Shante or I. And Ayla put in the chat again, the link to the feedback form. So you can tell us how we did, but also you can let us know about anything else you might be interested in. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and a lot of great questions.
Yes, thank you everyone for attending. I just want to echo what Ryan said. And HCC and Tico, they will be at our future fair hiring event. So you will be able to meet them in person, and we hope you all attend that as well. Like Ryan said, if you are interested in a different program, you can also indicate that on the form. So please fill that out, and we will be in touch with everyone who attended. And again, thank you so much for taking this next step towards your future. Thank you. I am going to stop recording somehow.